So welcome to the call and welcome to our special guest today, who's Jeff Davis. And we're going to get straight into it. So Jeff, do you want to just introduce yourself, your background, your experience in utility warehouse, that sort of thing, just to begin?
Yeah, sure. Evening, everybody. As Lloyd said, my name is Jeff Davis. I've been in the business as of next month 19 years, and I am an STL.
STL, fantastic.
STL,
And
yeah.
we've met over the years and stuff like that. Used to live sort of North Londonish, that type of thing. And just around the time of lockdown, I know you posted on Facebook that you were doing a certain thing. Do you want to just share with us what is it you decided to do and why you decided to do it?
Yeah, I decided, having read, I can't remember which book it was, there was a mention of a 90-day challenge. I decided that I would take on a 90-day challenge during the lockdown. And my biggest problem within the business, and it has been for the 19 years, is picking up this thing here, the phone. I just found it so heavy. I wanted to get rid of that issue. So I gave myself a challenge of 90 days of phoning everybody in my contact list. The phone, you had around about 1,200 names in the contact list. So I reckon 90 days was going to work out about right. Idea.
So just to cover that, you had a fear of the phone.
Yeah.
So you decided you wanted to phone everyone.
Yeah. I just felt that if I used the phone enough, I would get used to it. I would have to speak to people I'd never spoken to before as well in my list. I have people in there that are contacts that I literally just spoke to with WhatsApp or email to do with cricket. A real challenge.
Okay, so you decided to speak to everyone. What did you decide you were going to talk about? Was this purely a business thing, or what was the plan?
Definitely not. The business was secondary to the whole thing. I did feel that in some cases I might get something from it, but my whole plan was to see how people were and how they were going to cope through the lockdown at the start. And obviously that progressed to how they were coping in the lockdown.
Okay, so I often hear in the business people say to me, you know, what script shall I use for that? What script shall I use for that? What's the right script and whatever? Are you saying you had no script? It was sort of just hello to begin with?
Yes, yeah, it was. It literally was a case of, with some people not knowing who I am. I would start the conversation with, my name is Jeff. You probably don't know or remember me, but you are in my contact list. And I am phoning everybody in my contact list.
Okay, so that's fairly simple. And so you had this idea, and so in your contact list, and I know this may sound like a silly question, who was the first person you called? How did you decide who to ring first?
I decided to phone from A to Z. I thought I'm not going to pull people out and phone randomly. I thought the best way to do it is from A to Z.
So literally just started at the first thing your contact.
Yeah. So Aaron was the first person.
Aaron was the first.
Aaron. He's probably. I've thought about doing this in the past, and he's probably heard from me more than anybody else.
Okay. All right. So that's interesting. You've done this sort of thing in the past, or have you thought about it?
No. I've had it in my mind to do it, and I've started it, and probably I've never got past the first day.
Okay.
Ever.
So, fantastic idea. So you started off, and just tell us what was happening in the first few calls that you made.
Obviously, I was extremely nervous and hating what I was doing, but I was determined to get through it. And the conversations got easier very, very quickly. I just want genuinely asking how they are and what they're doing. So yeah.
Okay. And were you actually were you listening for opportunities to talk about the business, or did you just let it flow and see where it went?
I let every conversation flow. I obviously do, whenever I speak to anybody, listen out for any clues as to whether I can put the business into the conversation, and it did happen on occasions.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's fascinating. So let me just understand this. So tell me about the ones that you came up to their name and you thought, I'm not ringing them. What did you ring everyone, or did you miss out a few? Come on, you can be honest. You're amongst friends. Who did you miss?
I rang everyone. Actually, that's not true. Actually, I do. I lie there. One of my mum's cousins.
Okay.
She used to be a customer,
Yeah.
and she's in the A's, Adele, and I didn't ring her.
A bit too risky. but that's okay.
An ex-customer as well, so I didn't. Yeah.
So there was one you didn't. I think we can all think of one person we wouldn't ring. I'm not sure I'd be ringing up my ex-wife and saying.
I rang my ex-wife. Lloyd.
You rang your ex-wife. Fantastic.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. She's a customer, but not one of mine.
Yeah, you've obviously got a better relationship with your ex than I have. Okay, so you alluded to it earlier, but I was looking through my phone earlier, and there are names in there that I don't recognise. I don't know how they got in there. What about people you whose name you didn't recognise? What did you do? Did you just avoid those as well?
No, I rang them as well, just to have a conversation, and I would start it off exactly the same way. I had their number through some reason or other, so that's why I would start the conversation.
Did some of them also didn't know who you were?
Yeah, lots hadn't got a clue. Yeah.
And how did that conversation go? So you got two people on the phone. They don't know how. How did that go?
It's an interesting hurdle to get over, and I just phoned up to say I am just genuinely interested in how you are and how you're coping. And people open up and they do talk. It was an amazing experience.
So you started off just as lockdown happened. So just tell us a little bit about the type of things people were saying they were dealing with, and how they, forget the business for a moment, how were they coping with the situation as it unfolded and as the days went by?
Well, I've got to say that in most cases, everybody was saying that they were coping really, really well.
Okay.
I really didn't have any that were drastic, certainly not in the early days. As I went through the list, I did have people that had been affected by it.
Okay.
But in one case, somebody's wife had died. That was a very, very difficult conversation to have.
Okay.
But I did get through it, and I'm doing this all again, so they will get another call.
Okay. All right. So you mentioned you had 1,200 names in your contact. Just for the greens out there, how many didn't answer or anything like that, or you never got hold of it, just rang through or went to voicemail? Roughly, I wouldn't expect.
Roughly, I'm not a green, so I didn't keep the exact records.
I would have kept these stats.
Yeah. I reckon about a third were either going to voicemail or not answering.
Okay, a third. So 1,200. So you probably spoke to 2/3 of those people. So maybe 800 people you spoke to, and it got about business. So some of them you linked it to business. What were you then doing? Were you saying to people? I guess people would have asked you because they know you. Some of them would know you. How's that sort of pig thing going, or what you up to? How did you then turn that into a presentation or some sort of exchange of information?
Okay, well, very early on, we just got the remote system, so that gave me an excuse to actually ask if I could practice on some of the people that I actually knew. So that was quite handy.
Yeah.
So I did a few presentations right at the start that got me to actually work well with the remote.
So it got you understanding the remote system, which obviously is fairly simple. But at the beginning, I think we all had challenges understanding what was going on and stuff like that.
And then as it went on, I was just listening out for the right things to either get a chance of a presentation, or to talk to them about the business.
Okay.
And it's the business that I'm really interested in getting people involved as partners.
Okay.
That's
And you were saying to me earlier, the first person you recruited from this process actually came along in the A's.
He
It
did.
was somebody
Yeah.
whose name begins with
Yeah.
A that
Yeah.
you recruited.
Yeah, his name
How
was,
did that happen?
well, his name was Akil,
Okay.
and he was in my list because he actually was a partner, or back in the day, a distributor. It was
Right.
signed up by somebody else in the team, but I'd got his details. He did absolutely nothing. Turns out he didn't even know he was a partner. Whoever
Really?
had signed him up had managed to
Okay.
sign him up as a customer and a partner without even knowing.
Wow.
And he wanted to give it a go.
Right.
So I did a presentation to him the following day, signed him up. Haven't got him going yet.
Okay.
And it's 3 months ago, but he's still in touch. So
Right. So you're doing this A's, AK. So I reckon that's fairly early on. Someone
Yeah.
joins up. You must have thought this is fantastic. This is like
I was
shooting
expecting to
fish in
have
a barrel.
100.
Excellent. So just tell us a little bit about you. You said at the beginning you had the fear of the phone. How long did it take you to sort of get over that stage?
I think between 3 to 5 days into this, I had absolutely no fear of speaking to anybody at all.
Okay.
Regardless.
So just 3 to 5 days, which on my calculation is about 60 or 70 calls, 80 calls, something like that. Yeah. You no longer had that fear of the phone. You just lost it, and you were happy to call in.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, I have to say, with and a lot of thanks goes to Davina Ferreira for starting a breakfast, what we call Breakfast with Davina originally.
Okay, right.
Which was 9:30 in the morning every morning. We still do it every morning, and that would start my day off. We'd have a nice relaxed chat about half a dozen to a dozen of us. We'd finish that, and off I'd go with the calls. It gave me just a good grounding for the day.
Okay. So during this, did you miss any days? Were there any days you thought, I don't want to do this, or why am I doing this? What was the mindset as you were going through the numbers and the letters?
I haven't missed a single day. I was comfortable with doing it right at the start and just going along, an average between 10 to 15 a day. And then Wes set the 21-day challenge.
Okay.
And so I pushed through the 21 that became the 30 days. And obviously, with this sort of way you're making calls, you get some conversations that can go on for an hour. So
really?
You'd have some conversations. I had one conversation with an 84-year-old cricket club fixture secretary that I've never spoken to before in my life. It's just been emails. He's living on his own. He's not going to be a customer. I know that from the start, but he didn't want to get off the phone. He was living on his own and just wanted to talk. So that eats into your day when you're chasing 21 touches. Tough.
And I have to come back to potential people skipping and potential chicken list, because I was looking through my phone, and some of you know my son is at Leicester City Football Academy, and it's a long story, but I've got Brendan Rodgers' phone number in my phone. And do you know what? I'm not sure I'd phone him. Was there anyone you thought that you gave a second thought? You thought, oh, I'm not sure I want to ring them.
No, I don't think so. No, I haven't got anybody famous like that in my. Well, that's not true.
Well, he's not famous.
I have somebody called Tristan Gemmell, who was one of the lead roles in Coronation Street.
Okay.
And
did you ring
he's
him?
in my phone, and I phoned him, but he is a friend as
Oh,
well.
fantastic.
But to say that, I'm a printer by trade, and I print a lot of stuff for Aviva, for the IT department. So chicken list for me is the person that gives me the orders there. and I've got her mobile number, and I rang her on a Saturday morning, and it was her 50th birthday.
Wow.
I've never spoken to her about anything apart from work, and so that's Chicken List really, and we had a fantastic conversation about it.
Did you say happy
She knows
birthday?
what I do now as well. So.
Did you say I'll give you a call in another 50 years?
Yeah, look, she knows she's going to get another call from me.
What about people you knew were in the business? You know, there's no point calling them, surely.
I phoned those too.
Okay.
I did phone those as well. They're in my if they're in my phone book, I phoned them. And I had some interesting conversations there. I had a conversation with I can't remember his name off the top of my head. I'd met him once at Express Day in a jacuzzi or sauna.
Oh, okay.
Alan Wiggins, yeah, that's it. And an amazing conversation with him. He was really pleased to hear from me. And then another one who was also a UW partner, who was feeling really down,
Okay.
very, very low. I had a conversation with him, probably about 20 minutes. Put the phone down, and about 10 minutes later, I got a text from him to say he was really pleased I'd called, because he'd heard that day that his sister, who had cancer, and was in remission, had got cancer again. And so, you know, in the business, so it was a conversation. I'm genuinely interested in checking on people.
Well, it's interesting you say that, and we don't know the impact you would have made on people's lives through a difficult time. But I do actually remember the call you made to Helen. And I was listening, I was in the room, and the overriding thought afterwards wasn't that a nice thing to do? You know, I think you spoke to Helen for about 5 minutes or something like that, and it was how are you and stuff like that. And the impact even of us, and we had an idea you were doing it anyway, and when you called Helen, it just confirmed that you were at the H's. But it was, what a nice thing to do. And were you surprised by some of the responses that you got from people who were sort of grateful that you called?
Yeah, that was great. I had some fantastic responses pretty much right the way through, but I did have a couple of strange ones.
Okay. Was anyone rude to you?
Yes, two people were extremely rude. One was a wham, so that didn't come as much as a surprise.
Right.
And obviously, when I phoned to introduce myself to somebody I've done a wham with, I'd start off by saying we met at St Albans Range when you filled in a form, and I then say, but I'm not phoning up about that. But this gentleman just was not interested, and basically, what the hell are you calling me for? And put the phone down on me.
Okay.
And the other one was somebody that I do know and have networked with, who's a bit of a miserable person, and he's no longer in my phone contact list.
And how long did it take you to get over those two incidents?
No time at all. In fact,
no time at all.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So you recruited in the A's, and then how long before you recruited the next person?
In the R's.
In the R's.
Yeah.
Wow. So all through that time, weren't you despondent? Weren't you thinking, well, I'm not getting anywhere? What was your mindset during that, between A and R?
No, I felt I was building relationships with people, or I was planting seeds if I knew them well enough to because I would have told them what I was doing and who I was looking for. So no, I wasn't despondent at all, really. I know that eventually something's going to come from it.
Okay. And
which it did.
And from that activity and recruiting some people yourself and working with them, you were saying that you've got 11 partners from the exercise. Your team's grown by 11 partners directly from this exercise. What has that done to your team? Because we know your STL. Has that been a big impact on your team? Is it, how has it impacted your business?
yeah, it means that somebody in my team is getting closer to STL,
Okay.
which is going to pretty much push me to GL, which is where I want to be.
Okay. So
by Express Day.
you know, I always think, and I was saying on the call today that, you know, 11 partners today has the potential to be 100 partners in a year's time and 1,000 partners in 5 years' time. So it has a massive, massive impact. And you're saying you're doing this again now. I guess you've got to the Zs.
I have, yes. It took 79 days to actually get to the Zs.
79 days. And so you're starting again. So what's the thinking behind starting again?
Well, my feeling is that doing it a second time, that I can talk more about the business. I will obviously be phoning up and being genuinely asking how they've got on through the lockdown now, because obviously the ones I'm speaking to now hadn't gone through much of the process. But my idea is to get from them either the fact that they are in a position of not earning enough money now or out of work, or who do they know? And pretty much everybody is hearing about people that are being made redundant at the moment.
So what would you say is the biggest thing you've learned about phoning 800 people and having conversations with them?
To be genuinely interested in them and what they are and where they are in their life. Because if I'm interested in them, I feel they will want to be interested in me.
Okay. And is that what you found people were asking about you, and then that was the into you telling them about your business?
Yeah. Yes, yeah, very much so.
Fantastic. So I am going to open the floor and take some questions in a moment. So if you've got any questions, you can start thinking about that. But just going back to Jeff, I hope you don't mind sort of questions. Don't worry if you can't answer them. Just say I've got no idea. What would you say is your biggest learnings? What would you do different the second time around?
I don't know. I think I'm still going through it with the same process in mind of just really being genuine with them. But yeah, pushing more for some results than I did the first time. And genuinely wanting to help people. So that's
okay. So you're maybe looking at it the second time a little bit more keen towards the business, and maybe that's the right thing to do, seeing as we've moved on a bit from lockdown and now people are sort of facing different situations. What would you say to anyone? What are top tips, if you like, would you give to anyone who says, okay, I've got a mobile phone, it's got 1,000 names in it, and I might as well do the same thing? What would your top tips be?
Just be yourself, be relaxed. You might make a few you're going to feel really nervous at the beginning, and you're going to stumble over your words, and you're going to feel awkward. But I guarantee within a couple of days, 3 days, you will be. It's natural. You just get used to speaking to people. It was my biggest fear. So yeah.
Okay, cool. So what I'm going to do, I am going to just take a couple of questions. So if you have a question you want to ask, then the way this is going to have to work, if you just unmute yourself, you should be able to do that and start talking, then that will alert me to you. And if there are two people talking at the same time, I'll sort that out. So has anybody got any questions for Jeff?
I'd just like to ask, I've got lots of people that I have no idea why I've got them in my contact list. I don't know where I saw them, where I've met them, and who they are. How would you handle that?
I just say that my name is Jeff, and you are in my phone contact list. To be honest with you, I don't know why you're in my contact list, but I am phoning around everybody in my list just to see how they are and how they've coped through this crazy, crazy world that we're living in. As simple as that.
Brilliant. I keep looking, thinking I'm not ringing them. I don't know who they are.
I think that's half my phone book. That's the problem with it. But no, I think Jeff's covered that brilliantly, and that sounds great. And you know, I always put myself on the other side of a call. If I'm going to make a call, I put myself on the other side. And you know, if somebody rang me and said that to me, I'd think amazing. You know, I'd probably think amazing because I'm thinking, oh, I can pitch them on my business. But I genuinely, I think that amazing. I think that's great. You know, somebody's taking the time and effort to ring me to ask me how they are, how I am, and they don't even know who I am. So that's brilliant. Thank you very much for that, Paula. Anybody else got a question?
Yeah.
Joe, I can see Joe with
Question.
her hand up.
Thanks, Lloyd. Hi, Jeff. Thank you. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Really love listening to what you've been doing. So from round 1 of dialing everybody in your phone book, you've come away with 11 partners, which is amazing. Would you say those 11 are people that you were more familiar with in your list, or did they come about from you asking people just to help you out in this time? I'm just curious how you managed to get 11 from a very gentle conversation, if that makes sense.
Okay, so the second one, which was R, which is a guy called Ranjan, I met in 2014 at the Business XLS exhibition. He filled in a WAM form, and looking at my spreadsheet that I had, when I phoned him, he didn't answer the phone back in 2014. He did answer the phone this time, and I explained how we'd met and had a chat with him. And he has an import-export business that was dead at the time, so we made an appointment for the following day. The moment I started the presentation, he said, "Oh, I'm a customer." He said, "I think I might have been a partner." So I had to phone partner services whilst he was on the line to check he was no longer a partner. We went through the whole process, and he signed up. And I've supported him, and he signed 3 partners, of which one of those who's on the call tonight, Anu, I've supported him 2, and he signed 5 partners. So it's spun on from, so I've only personally signed up the 2, but I've done the supported appointments to sign up those partners. So
Brilliant.
That answers your question, Joe.
Absolutely brilliant. Brilliant. Thank you. Are they all in List Builder, by the way? Are you using your List Builder after you phoned them?
So Anu's who's on here we didn't do that process on the List Builder, but from him onwards, when I've done the fast start plan, I've got them to write down the 15 names, and then when we get to the end of the fast start plan, I take them to the List Builder, and I give them the 3-minute challenge to put in those 15 names, and then explain to them how the List Builder works. So,
thank you. Good luck with your second round. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Joe.
So with all that supporting and stuff and all this stuff that's come from that, you must have loads of holiday points then. Is that a byproduct of doing this? What are you qualifying for?
Yeah, I've got 59 points with, I think, 8 pending at the moment.
Wow.
I'm aiming for the Maldives.
Okay.
That's where I want to go. And Anu, who comes from Sri Lanka, he wants the Maldives as well, because that's only a very short boat ride away from home.
Fantastic.
So, yeah.
Brilliant. Anybody got any more questions for Jeff? Anything they'd like to know? No, I think you must have covered everything. Fantastic. If you've got a question, just unmute and start speaking, because I can't see.
Can I just add one thing? If anybody does decide to do this, keep an eye on your mobile phone package.
Okay.
Because the first month I put it up to the next level. The following month it had to go up another level again. Yeah, so just keep an eye on that.
Who's your mobile with?
Oh, I wouldn't like to say. But they're very good. You just ring them up and say, "Can I go up to the next level?"
And you can upgrade all the time.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So,
I think, if Anu's on the call, it might be nice to introduce and have a word from him.
would it? Hello?
No, if Anu's there, I saw him earlier on.
Yeah.
Well, Anu wasn't in your phone book. He's come from, he's second generation.
He's been signed up by Ranjan. Yeah.
Fantastic. And
If not, I've got a question, Lloyd.
yeah, go for it.
My question is, did you take notes during your conversations with people, or is it literally just a conversation and you just remembered it and either wrote down stuff after?
I've got the Less Annoying CRM, so I put notes in on all of them. And obviously, out of the 1,200, there were some numbers that no longer existed. So it's gone down to about 1,086. I think.
Fantastic. I guess there are people on this call who you would have rang.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
So what would be good, I think, because I gave you the sort of like feedback from when he phoned Helen. And Heather, seeing as you asked that question, I'll ask you. Well, first of all, I'll ask you, did he phone you?
Didn't phone me, no.
He didn't phone you, Jeff. You didn't phone Heather.
I speak to her every day.
He's sick of me.
Lloyd, can I say that he phoned me? My name's Jax.
Hello, Jax.
Hi, he phoned me.
You. Okay, and how did that conversation go?
Well, yeah, as he said, it was just a opportunity to touch base and ask how I was. And I'm furloughed from my day job. I'm a partner in UW in Heather's team, and yeah, we just had a general conversation. You know, he asked how I was doing, and I explained that I was doing more UW in this lockdown since I've been furloughed. And actually, I felt that the conversation was so comfortable that there was a future time after we ended the conversation. There was a future time that I was trying to get hold of Heather and I couldn't because she was busy at the time. And I thought, oh God, who can I ask this advice? Because I was doing a sign up.
Right.
And so Jeff sprang to mind, and I rang Jeff, and he's not anything to do with me or my team, but he willingly helped me and gave me some advice that I was after, so that I could continue with my sign up.
Fantastic. So you found a cross-team support buddy, and Jeff, who's friends to many people, and I know helps many people. So that was all part of it. I just want to end by I finally got Anu along. Anu, can you hear us?
Yes, I can, yes.
Fantastic. Welcome to the call. Now, you were introduced by someone who was introduced by Jeff, and I guess you're working closely with Jeff. Has he suggested to you that you phone everyone in your
Not yet, no. Not until today, but I might actually go and do it.
Okay.
I mean, I'm really new to all this. I mean, I didn't even know about UW 3 weeks ago.
Right.
Now I've got 6 partners in my team, so
Wow.
I mean, it's been a really fast moving 3 weeks. So I'm learning quite a lot from Jeff, and he has spent quite a lot of time with me, I have to say. I mean, he's been really helpful. Without him, I wouldn't have done any of these.
Fantastic.
He worked with me in conference calls, and also he gave me a lot of advice outside that. You know, I've been reading a lot of books. He suggested as well, and listened to webinars. One webinar he suggested was Steve, and I've loved it. And I made everyone in my team listen to that as well. So, so I'm learning quite a lot from Jeff. Yes.
Fantastic, brilliant, well done, Anu, and I'm sure we'll hear about and from your progress going forward. So, just as we wrap up, because we've just got a couple of minutes left, Jeff, just to turn back to yourself, and as you said, you're progressing towards group leader and stuff like that. How have you been duplicating this within your team? Are all your team now fearless of the phone and just, you know, ringing hundreds of people? How are you trying to duplicate that within the team?
Yeah, I wish they were, Lloyd. It's not. I mean, everybody in my team that is not in witness protection knows what I've done. It's not something that I can only suggest that they do it. None of them have taken that on board as of yet. But hopefully some will, because I think it's a great way of contacting people rather than being picky. I think for me, if I was to just phone my WAM list in one go, after about 5 or 6 calls, not getting a result, I would not be very happy, and then I'd get diverted onto something else. Whereas this just gave me a purpose. Every call was going to be different.
Fantastic. Okay. Well, Jeff, I want to thank you for coming on the call, and thank you for your time. I'm sure you inspired many on the call today, and many who will see the recording. If you are watching this, I think what's come across, for me, is that this has been a really, really gentle way of just speaking to lots of people with no agenda and seeing where conversations go. And conversations he's had has impacted people's lives outside of the business, and has also impacted people who joined the business and people like Andy who joined subsequent to that. So what the question is who's going to give this a go? Put your hands up if you're going to give this a go. Is this worth giving a go? I don't know. I mean, if we've got 75 people on the call, and let's say we've all got 1,000 names, contacts in our phone. So that could be 75,000 people who will have heard from someone, and some of those people may not have spoken to anyone for the last 2 months. They may be really, really down because they've been furloughed. They may be really down, for other reasons. And just a phone call sometimes will make someone's day. I don't think we've heard the results from Jeff. Not everyone's going to join. Not loads of people are going to join. But I tell you what, I know for certain the next 79 days, as Jeff goes through his phone book again, he'll have more people join. And then when he does it again, he'll have more people join, because people are starting to be aware he's made contact and he's made an impact. So I think, Jeff, we're going to give you a silent round of applause there, because I think it's been an absolute fantastic effort. Well done, and keep going. And if you're going to give it a go, my top tip would be do exactly what Jeff did. Start from A's and go down. So bearing in mind my name begins with L, I'll be expecting a lot of calls this time next month, I think. Okay. And if you are going to give it a call, let us know how you get on so we can share it with your team. So thanks for coming on, and we'll see you all again soon. So take care. Bye-bye.